Welcome to the Chosen Companion series. We're back here again. It feels like it was just, last night that we recorded our Christmas special. It was just last night that
That
we
is a great
recorded our Christmas
observation.
special. But yes, we're back. We're here. We're going to talk about season 3, episode 3, Physician Heal Yourself. My name is Mike from Showboys. My good friend James is here with me, just like he is every other episode. From
Every
the
other
Nerdy
one?
Bible. Every
If
not
like
every other
alternate?
episode, but like
Okay.
every other
Oh,
episode that
there.
we've
Okay,
done.
gotcha.
Yes,
Gotcha.
yeah.
That
That would
makes
be
sense.
weird if you were just on every other episode and then I did
Flip
the
flop.
other episodes just by myself or something. That'd be really weird.
Yeah, it would.
But no, he's been here the whole time. And we're back for another episode. And this is crazy. This is like a monumental moment for us as a podcast series. As of right now, there is no episode of Chosen waiting to be covered yet. Episode 4 has not released yet. So
well, on your platform.
Yes,
So
but at the
I
time
am
of
still
recording,
really-
there's nothing on our
Yes.
backlog to record because at the moment that we are talking right this second,
Yeah,
we've caught up recording wise. It's crazy.
we have. And this
It's
would be wow, for me, this would be my 21st podcast episode.
Yeah.
So we're moving on up, dude.
Yeah. It's been since
21st. It's the 21st episode. And Spotify, they let you know everything, like your statistics. It's like your year end, and they're like, you have 700 some hours. It's the 21st.
Yeah, we like to talk a lot.
No, I think it's like 78 hours or no, what were they saying? That's I don't know. But yeah,
I could see that being a thing, 2.5 hours an episode.
And I'm like, man,
it's a lot. It's a lot. But we're here. We're gonna go over
789 minutes. That's
that's
so
that's quite a lot. Let's do some quick math. 789 divided by 60. That's 13 hours of podcasts.
And that's just where we're at.
Yeah, that's where we are. But yeah, we're gonna talk about season 3, episode 3, Physician Heal Yourself. Man, this was a bombshell of an episode. I would say this one stuff starts to get real. It's already been getting real, but this episode, things are put into motion, which cannot be undone. General thoughts. What do you think of the episode?
I was blown away, to be honest with you. It was a really good episode. Yeah. Dude, I don't know how far I want to get into it, but like just the depth to it. And what I mean by depth is like you're getting that image of Jesus that I feel like I've thought a lot more about than I've not thought. He is, there's pain because of what's happened. You know what I mean? Like he's hurting in some capacity. Like he's like, it's just not like that. We're sitting, we're walking, and we're enjoying like he's struggling because there's like, it's not about that anymore. It's a new level of like, of your journey, right? Of his story. I don't know. I don't know. So good, man. So good.
Starting to see
so much about this.
Yeah. We're starting to see another side of Jesus that we haven't seen in this series so far. And yeah, it was, a lot of things happen here. It's deep, it's serious, and they use some really cool film stuff to drive some of those points home. They do some cool things that I like that I'll mention when we get there. But yeah, overall, really, really good episode. This episode might contain the one scene from the entire season that is probably the most controversial that I recognized. A lot of people, being angry about. And we'll talk about that once we get there.
Have you like researched why? Because I have not, and I don't. Maybe we'll do some.
Researched? No, but I've been.
I just tend to just not pay attention.
Yeah, no, I didn't research per se, but had a conversation with someone
who was against it.
Yeah, who was not like radically outraged, but like annoyed, I guess. Maybe one of those things, like as a parent, where you'd be like, "I'm not angry, I'm just disappointed," you know. But I think that reaction, that conversation happened in the season 3 trailer, so like before this episode even aired. So it was a scene shown in the trailer for season 3 with absolutely no context, so people get outraged over nothing. And I think I would be curious to talk to some of these people who were outraged by the season 3 trailer
after
to see if that same outrage still exists after seeing the episode and the conversation in context.
Well, but my argument to that would be like, okay, so have you not paid attention to anything at all? Like, I mean, is this like not the point of reading the Bible in a modern age is context?
Right.
Like,
yes.
That you're just gonna
short answer. Yes, they like completely missed the point.
Like that is like, I feel like that's the point of all these. Like, you hear these great, theologians and different things, and what they do great is put into context. And so,
right.
So I don't know, whatever.
Yes, the main issue with society today, and probably society for society's entire existence, is people jumping to conclusions with lack of context. But yeah, we'll get there. We'll just start at the top, and there are some. I don't want to call them filler scenes, because all the scenes in this episode have substance and are meaningful. But we start out with a little flashback to Jesus's childhood, where he's like a wee toddler playing with toys, and we have young Mother Mary and Joseph returning for the 3rd time in the series, from the pilot to the Christmas special that we talked about last night. And now they're here. So like that's kind of what I was alluding to last night, but then I was like, oh crap, if you haven't seen it, I don't want to like totally spoil anything. But yes, they're back, and I love it. Yeah, that beginning scene, that's kind of really all there is.
It's Lazarus, right?
Lazarus was the other thing that I didn't want to spoil. He returns from the Christmas special as well in this.
Oh episode. Yeah, no, but I'm saying baby Lazarus.
Right? Is Lazarus?
I think so.
Them?
I thought so. I saw some
that would make
Facebook
sense.
thing, and it was like, "Here's our baby Lazarus" or something, and like there's some like mom posting like of the baby actor. I don't know, what do you call a baby actor? Like an actor, I guess.
Yeah, that's a baby
that has no idea what they're doing. But yeah,
right. No, that would make sense, because Jesus, Lazarus, good pals in the show. They've been, lifelong friends. It appears. So having them play together there in that opening scene would make total sense. But yeah, we come into the episode after the credits here. Jesus is returning to Nazareth. This is Nazareth, correct? He's returning to his hometown.
Yeah, Galilee.
He arrives at his mother's house, and they're getting ready to celebrate the day of the Earth's creation, the new year back then, apparently. Totally speaking out of ignorance right now, but what I'm gathering is this is their New Year's celebration holiday that's getting ready to take place. But there's kind of an important conversation here that happens between Jesus and Mary. He comes in there. She's just taken the raisin bread out of the stone oven, and they sit down to eat and kind of have a little small talk. Jesus asks where who's it, Jude and Joseph, his brothers, I believe,
James?
James and Jude? James and Joseph.
Jude sounds right.
Yes. Either way, his siblings aren't there. His mother, is like they thought it would be best if they celebrated elsewhere to avoid any like conflict while all this stuff's
You know
going
how
on.
they feel about the whole thing you're doing.
Yeah,
it's kind of what I got from that.
Yeah.
He had 3? Huh? He had 4 brothers?
You're the scholar.
Well, I'm
So
not a scholar.
I'm gonna agree with you.
I'm a scholar in training. No, I'm a scholar in a whole different field than this. No, James.
James and Jude, by the way, that just popped up on the closed captions.
Yeah, Judas, Simon, and Joseph. Huh.
Nice.
All right. Apparently, it's in Mark 6:3. So you learn something new every day, man.
There
it's
you go.
just
that's why you tune in to this podcast.
Of knowledge.
That's right.
Is that really why they tune into this podcast?
Exactly why. They wanted to know the siblings of Jesus.
I can't learn fast, man. And wow, yeah, he's just a carpenter, the son of Mary and the brother of James, Joseph, Judas, and Simon. Wow.
There you go.
All right, go on. Sorry.
No. So they're catching up, and as they're wrapping up their conversation, their dinner, Jesus is like, "Hey, Mom, I'm gonna need that little box," and this triggers some emotions between both of them.
Mm-hmm.
We, as an audience, or at least I did, I had no idea what they were talking about, this little box. I don't know if this is in scripture at all. I'm going to play dumb here. And
I don't believe so.
Yeah, I don't think so. But he asks where, he's like, Mom, I'm going to need to take the box with me. She gets teary-eyed, very serious, very somber, very quickly. He's like, are you sure? And he's like, yeah, my time's coming. And they have this very emotional, very short conversation, but it's like Mary coming to terms with what she has known is going to come to pass, because it's actually coming now. Mm-hmm. And like, yeah, what did you think of this conversation here?
I think this was the scene that I was thinking of when I first was talking about just like the seriousness in Jesus. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know, like he just, something is like changed. Maybe not changed him. I don't know if that's theologically correct, but like, I don't know. He's just so, I guess the only thing that pops to my head in like an analogy, just like somebody that's like 18, they're coming out and they're going into the military or something. And then they're kind of like, like, all right, this is, exciting. There's this new change in life. And then they go to war. I've never been to war or anything, but like, and then they go to war for like 5-10 years and they come back and it's like, things have changed. You know what I mean? Right. Things are, I don't know. You've lost people, you've seen things you've done. And so it's the only thing that pops in my head. I don't know if it's a fair analogy, but like something is like, he's just so like, do you get what I'm saying? Like, he's just like, yeah. And so it's just so, this is like the character development that I've been kind of anticipating coming. You know what I mean? You kind of seen it in glimpses before, but like, this is where it kind of really hits hard. Because you're like, yeah. I don't know. I don't know. I think even so, the fact that what happens in this episode, these are people that he loved. These are people that he grew up with. These are people that like he knew him. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And like, and so that's, I think I feel like what I get from scripture sometimes is that seems to be some of the harder parts, right? Of
Mm-hmm.
it's not, it's crazy enough. It doesn't even see like bearing what he does is like the most difficult part. It's like, it seems that like it's people that he loves or
Yeah.
people that he's like doing this for or doing this to. I don't know. Maybe I'm completely wrong with that, but like, um, yeah, I don't know. Sorry, that's a big long answer to like this scene, but like there's just this change and I don't know.
Yeah.
He just I don't know if we're gonna see that Jesus um uh playing with the little children and like joking around with them and making fart noises like where I don't think we're gonna see that that aspect anymore.
Yeah.
And like the significance is that like he's changed, right? I mean, I don't know. Maybe do you think is that theologically incorrect? Do you think God never
Yeah. I mean,
changes,
like
so Jesus
technically,
hasn't changed? I
yeah.
guess you would
But
say, but I
I
would
mean, I think it's
argue.
just like I don't know. It's just a tonal shift, right?
Uh-huh.
Like I hate to continue to use like birth as an analogy. Used it last night. I'm gonna use it again. But like when especially your first child, father of three here, you're a father of one.
Correct.
Um and I know for me when we had our first child, like it was exciting and fun during the pregnancy for me because I wasn't carrying a child. I can't speak exactly for my wife, but she was excited and having fun most of the time. I mean, of course, the normal like pregnancy discomfort, right? And
Uh-huh.
probably being annoying, being carrying around a human inside of you at times, like when it's like 98 degrees in the summer and you're yeah. Anyways, but like when you get to like that final month and you're like, "Oh, now it's 3 weeks until the due date. Now,
Mhm.
like, 2 weeks. Oh my goodness, like, it could literally happen any day." That fun and excitement kind of shifts into, like, a nervous excitement or, kind of like maybe I mean, not saying Jesus panicked or anything, but it's like, one of those things where it's like reality is settling in where you're like, "Oh my gosh, any day now, I could be responsible for keeping another human being alive."
Mhm.
And like Jesus, I think in these episodes at least, in this scene, is like, I've known this day is going to come, but like we're getting in that like last trimester, last, 4, 5, 6 weeks of pregnancy where you're like, "Oh, this is really about to happen." Like, that at least that's like my interpretation of
Mhm.
how it's being portrayed here, where it's like he's just like, "Oh man, like, yeah, this is about to happen." And like it's not gonna be fun. I'm not saying pregnancy and having children is not fun. That's where my analogy ends. But does that make any sense?
No, it it does. It does. Um, I'm just trying to think like I'm hung up on now. I'm hung up on the fact like, does he change or not?
Oh,
I'm like gonna no, but I get what you're saying because well, I mean, I think he did. You said he didn't panic. I think he does panic to some extent. He does like go out, not panic, but he does like go out into the night and
yeah,
pray, like,
right.
if you would take this away, like, please do so.
Yeah. I wouldn't
Like,
be mad.
right,
I'm just
like,
throwing that out there. I would not
and
be mad if this didn't happen to happen, God.
so I mean, there's still that level of like, I don't know. I also think like, yeah, no, like the guy. I'll just continue on with your analogy, right? There's that excitement and um what's to come, right? Like that
Mhm.
you have are going to have a baby and that baby's going to be difficult and you're not going to sleep and they're going to they may get sick. There might be different things, and my baby's sick right now. And
Yeah,
like,
not speaking from
yeah.
experience or anything, are you?
And like, so you can anticipate all you want, but like once you're actually there, it's a whole new level of like, I don't know.
Yeah, it just gets real.
I liked this scene because it allowed me to just kind of put so much empathy on the situation and like really think about it from all these different perspectives. And like, did this scene happen? Probably not. This isn't like, I don't recall this from scripture, right? So I'm not like, but like what they seem to have gotten right is the depth of the situation and like a very good idea. Like, I'm putting myself in these shoes and like it seems pretty legit. You know what I mean? The shoes that I'm wearing right now in this thought process.
Yeah, I mean, Jesus wasn't a robot, so I'm sure he had these types of conversations with his loved ones, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I think it would be crazy to think that something like this probably didn't happen.
Yeah,
right?
But you also have the messenger, like she knows like my time is not yet here. My time is not come. My time is come. It's here. Like, it's not like she's like, oh, I wonder what that means. Like, she's pretty,
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, she seems to be with it. She seems to understand the complexity of the situation and the fact that like what he's called to do is not,
right,
storm Rome with
right,
with
right, or write a couple cool papers and call it a day. Like, he's about to do something like that's gonna turn the world upside down and come at a very steep cost, right? Yeah. So they have this conversation. Mary tells him the box is up in his room by his bed. So he goes up, and here we are. The hot button scene of the episode, just laden with controversy.
Wait,
Jesus
what? We're here?
turns the corner,
greets
the sheep. Cain and Abel. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me, Dallas? No, I'm kidding. This is nothing. But the sheep are called Cain and Abel, which I thought was really
funny. I saw a post by him, and he was like, "You guys didn't think I'd be able to get Cain and Abel into an episode." And when I saw that, I hadn't seen this. I thought maybe they started intro with a Cain and Abel thing, but no, it's
nope. Sheep love it. It's so good. But no, he goes up to his room, finds the box by his bed, and opens it up, and we find out that it is I can't remember what they're called, but do you remember what it's called exactly? It's like what you lead a donkey or a mule with, or or like the headpiece, mouthpiece. I don't know. It goes in their mouth, and you know what I'm talking about. I'm really struggling.
I do. I'm just gonna let you struggle for it.
Yeah, I need the phone a friend. Can we get Heller on the phone, please? A resident horse expert. She could help us out.
Yeah, I don't know what it's called. I don't. I saw a post on there and it said, "If you know, you know," and it was a picture of the kid holding that.
Yeah, I did.
And I'm like, I don't know. Like, I know, but I don't know what that.
Yeah, when I first saw it, I was like,
"Oh, and I'll figure it out."
I was like, is that like
correct?
Are we going like Forrest Gump here? Did Jesus like have some old school knee braces when he was a kid? Like what is this? What is the significance of this? And
I mean, do you know, like, do you have theories of what it? Never mind. Do you?
Yeah, no. Okay. I as I learned what this was later in the episode, I'm like, okay, I know what he's going to use that for. Do you just want to talk about that now?
No, we
We'll
can wait.
Okay.
Oh, sure. I don't care.
All right. So later in the episode,
A mule's bit.
What'd you call me?
You heard me. It's called a mule's bit.
Yes.
And
it is what goes over their snout in their mouth.
Continue
and you
on.
lead them with
Let's
it.
hear what your
So later on in the episode, actually, it's like one of the second to last scenes in the episode. We'll just talk about it because it explains what this is. We have a flashback with a young child version of Jesus learning how to read while Joseph is carpentering away. Yes, I just made that up. And Joseph's teaching him how to read, helping him sound out these words, kind of explaining the family trade, where I thought it was funny. He's like, picked a bad place to settle down as a woodworker in a place that's full of dirt and stone and not much trees. But the main crux of this conversation here is first he's reading I believe the passage that he read in the temple earlier in the episode, which we'll talk about when we get there. Joseph's teaching him, how to hammer nails and the family business, all this stuff, having a real father-son bonding moment here. But he passes on this mule's bit to Jesus in this scene here. And he explains, what it was. It's kind of symbolic of when they escaped their slavery. This has been passed down from generation to generation in Joseph's family for like 40 generations or something. It's just as like a symbol of like where they came from, right? And he said, you're probably not going to bear a son, knowing what Jesus is, right? He's like, but I have to pass this down to you. So here it is. And he talks about the story, the mule helping lead them out of Egypt, out of their slavery, leading to their salvation. I think this is going to be what he uses in the classic arrival on the donkey and mule.
And
He's going to use this bit, Palm Sunday. He's going to ride into town using this family heirloom in the show. That's my theory.
Yeah, it's a pretty solid one. I can't dispute
because the symbolism on top of symbolism, Jesus being the one that's going to lead his people and us out of slavery and into salvation, just like this mule did, using this bit, 1,000 years ago.
Brittle.
Yeah, that's it. That's exactly what I was thinking. So he gets this from Mary, and she understands what is about to happen. What happens next, sir? Would you like to take us forward?
Yeah, as soon as I figure it out. No, all right. So now, they're going to celebrate the new year, right? The start of Creation Day. Is that like I didn't understand this, and maybe I don't have a very deep understanding of Jewish traditions, and so maybe this is whatever this is. I'm assuming it's the start of their calendar year, right? New Year, obviously.
Yeah.
But like this would have been. Just to give context, where they're existing right now is pretty much, I believe, right after the Julian calendar, which is close to what I can go through the whole process of how we got to all the leap days and leap years and all that stuff. I can walk you through the whole thing. It's stupid.
Yeah.
But it took us a lot of times to get it right. But Julian calendar.
While you're talking about that, they do make references twice about may the new year be sweet, like this raisin bread that we're eating, or like the honey and apples that he eats here in this, next scene.
Oh, wow. Julian calendar 46 BC. Okay. So it's been around for a little bit.
Nice. I think somewhere in this scene they make like a passing comment about it being like celebration of the Earth's creation.
Yeah, they did.
But yeah, that's what's happening. They're having a little party out in the field here. Jesus and Mary run into some old friends, Rafi and Dina from the wedding. If you remember all the way back from season 1.
Yep.
But yeah, what else happens here?
Yeah, so they're just kind of hanging out with Lazarus.
He's back from the Christmas special.
Yeah. Yes. Yes, I didn't even know how to respond to that, but yes, he's back from the Christmas special.
So I wanted to talk about it so bad last night, but I didn't want to spoil it.
And yeah, I'm very curious to see like the level of, like, I know he like was very sad when Lazarus died. Is that?
Yeah.
I'm just, yeah, I don't know, because they're like buddy. Like, he called him Laz. Did you pick up on that?
Yep.
He's like, oh yeah, buddy, old Laz.
Yep.
It'd be great to see him, and so the way they kind of just connect, it's pretty good here. But like, and just Lazarus, I almost called him Laz, is definitely a jokester. I would say he's very just throwing punches left and right. Like he's like, what did they say? He's like, I heard you did some things in Samaria. Like, we're gonna have to talk about that. Like, but
making friends with Samaritans, but like making enemies in places we actually like.
Samaritans. I think we call them Sumerians. We both did that. No, I think I did the same thing. Samaritans. But yeah, no, they were they're just it's a small little festival. Like, it's exactly what you would kind of predict. Everyone's kind of joking around, they're feasting, they're
we learned the age-old question, the answer to the age-old question of whether or not Jesus is good at sports. Short answer, no, he's not. But yeah, the scene where Jesus is talking with Laz and Mary and Martha. Mary's asking him all these questions about the things they've heard, like, has he really done all these miracles? Is she goes to ask, if he's like, some people even say that say that you're the Messiah. Like, is that true? And I thought it was interesting that in this conversation here, the conversation coming up with the rabbi, like, he is very dismissive. I wouldn't even say dismissive. He's just doesn't acknowledge these things, doesn't answer, doesn't deny, doesn't confirm. I thought that was interesting. What do you think about that?
Yeah, he seems to do this a lot, and I don't know. It's not the first time he's done it. Where he just kind of deflects a little bit. Not even. He doesn't even deflect it.
Yeah, he just almost just doesn't answer.
Yeah, it just blankly doesn't answer.
Like, I'm sorry. What? I didn't get that. What?
Yeah, and so I don't know.
Do you think that's the humility, or is that him like not wanting to fully like announce himself? He does that in about 10 minutes, but
I don't know. I don't know if there's like this. I think he excuse me. I think he respects the gravity of it, right? Like something of like, hey, I'm the Messiah. I'm here to save not you, but everyone. The people that you wouldn't save, I'm here to save. I'm here to forever. Like, I'm here to do all of this. I'm the Messiah that you get. Like, that's a big thing to say. And I don't think it's like this thing you say of while you're just putzing around at you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I don't know if there's
just literally going to save the entire world. No big deal.
Why do I keep on doing that? I breathe in and I cough. Excuse me.
You're conversing with the king of coughs and throat clears. So
okay, I think I'm good.
Pain, man.
He's symbolic too, right? Like, he is very. I don't know. He does it a lot, and it's like he doesn't just. I don't know. There's a time and place for everything, and I like that. It's it might be too of like. It's like if you ever have a really good idea, and it's this really like great thing you're thinking of, and you're like excited about it. Obviously, this is something a little bit different than that, but like, you're. What?
I feel like we need to preface every analogy with like, obviously, this is just a little bit different, but
like, what happens when you tell people what you're thinking? It's crushed, right? Like, and so like you almost have to be. I think it's something that all people kind of learn over time. Well, most people should learn over time. Is that like when you have a really good idea, like your first response shouldn't be to go and blurt out to the world and like expect like, you know what I mean? And to think about it, stew on it for a little bit and find out like why you want to tell. I don't know. Maybe that's just me, but like, do you get what I'm saying there? Because if you tell the wrong person your great idea, they're going to just destroy it. And, and also like right here, especially, you ever also, I'm here to have another thought too. Have you ever gone around people that you like, you were really close with maybe like 15, 20 years ago, and you were like a whole different person from then, right? Like what happens when you get around them people again? Do you ever like, you start acting that old way? And like, is that what you experience? Like you start acting that way, almost like your thoughts too are like, you tend to think in the same regard there. And by the end of the night, you may think like, man, I feel like a little weird. And I don't know why, like, why is my mind like the way it is? I don't know. And so I don't know, maybe there's just a lot of, I mean, maybe that's not have to do anything with this, but that was one of my thoughts anyway, of just seeing Jesus around these people that he grew up with. Like,
right.
And I wonder by him not answering, him not saying, like, it's like this level of like, they're going to hate me by the end of tonight. And like, I don't know, I'm not going to reveal these things until I can piss everyone off at once.
Yeah, he does wait till they're all gathered together. I mean,
which is this next scene right here.
Yeah.
Because what we didn't kind of describe is that Lazarus introduces him to not introduced him, but the rabbi that Jesus learned under, the rabbi of the local synagogue. And so he's like, hey, I know you've been prepping this, but like, why don't you have Jesus, teach and do the teaching
saying
and
all these great things about him. Let's see what he's got.
Exactly. And so, and they convinced him. And so
I love how the rabbi reluctantly agrees.
Yeah.
He's peer pressured into
if you say so.
Yeah, sure. It'll be great to hear what God's been speaking to you.
Yeah. So here we are, man. So we're in synagogue. Which I don't know if this is right, but it looks like Rosh Hashanah. Yes. Is that what this is?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Rosh Hashanah is creation's beginning. Cool. Okay, so I was doing a little Googling. All right, Yeah, so they're in synagogue, man. Rabbi is starting off the typical prayer here, and so yeah, he calls forth Jesus to do some teaching.
Not before the most epic of worship services, though. We got the guy on the kazoo in the back.
Oh, yes.
I almost thought we were about to go into that, like, EDM, like Sandstorm song or whatever that everyone covers. If you know, you know.
What? Yeah, no, I don't know.
Yeah, very, very great kazoo playing. And like you said, yeah, Jesus steps up to the podium. And this no joke, this is the scene, right? This is the scene that causes in the show ruffles all the feathers, right? Gets under everyone's skin. But this contains the line, right, that has caused the controversy, at least during the season 3 trailer. So much so that Dallas did put out a video, like he does occasionally.
Did he? I want to
Explaining himself. I'll have to find it. I did watch it just because I didn't watch the trailer because I didn't want to have anything ruined, and heard all the outcry, and I was like, oh, I'll watch the video. Dallas's response to see what's going on, and exactly how he explained it is exactly how it played out. Obviously, because he's the one that wrote the script, right? So, that here Jesus gets the scroll. He's going to read from Isaiah, and he does, of course, but I want to say before he does, we got a little look up, right? Almost as if he's receiving direction, maybe. Did you notice that he pauses, looks up, kind of like gives a little head nod, and then begins reading. He opens the scroll and begins to read, and he starts out, the Spirit of the Lord God is upon me because the Lord has anointed me to bring good news to the poor.
Yeah, I see the
he
head
has
up.
sent me to heal the brokenhearted, to proclaim liberty to the captives and recovery of sight to the blind, to the opening of the prison for those who are bound, to proclaim the year of the Lord's favor. And then he closes the scroll. It sits down. Obviously, catching everyone by surprise. They're like, that's not the whole thing, man. And the rabbi is a little miffed. He asks Jesus, well, first Jesus says, I'm just going to quote a lot of this scene because there's a lot of really powerful stuff. But he says, the fulfillment of the scripture as you've heard it is today, which is like a bombshell, right? This is the year of the Lord's favor. This is the year of Jubilee, a year of the poor, the brokenhearted, and the captive and the blind are offered redemption here now, which is nuts. Like, Jesus just dropped the mic like for the second time in this scene. But this is nuts. Like, what did you think so far? Just of like this little bit of this scene, like what was your reaction? What were you thinking as this was playing out?
Well, it was good, and it's straight from scripture. Like, this is not like a fabricate. Like, it's Luke 4. I think we start at like verse 14 to like 30 is what this is. But it's like, I don't know. I loved I don't know. I loved it. It was just so good. I like his rationale of like what he. Well, I'm staring at red letters right now, so it's hard to like not, But like he's talking about Elijah when they call the famine, for 3.5 years, and how Elijah came to, there was a lot of widows there. Elijah didn't go to any of them. He went to the foreigner.
Yeah.
There was a lot of people with leprosy. They didn't get healed. The Syrian one
people.
did, the enemy. And so like, it's so good because they're all like, I really like the way that the actors and actresses did in this scene because, like, dude, they have such an entitled face on them.
Yeah, they look
When
appalled.
they look appalled that, like, that it's their God, right? Like, it's their God. They are his people, and, like, they're just so offended
Yeah.
by
Like, what
this.
do you mean we're spiritually in debt?
Yeah.
What?
And he's like basically, and he said, he's like, if you don't realize that, like, you are spiritually, like, dead pretty much,
Yeah.
and not like, then you're, like, lost. Like, I don't know, I'm paraphrasing this completely, and I might be missing the meaning fully, but, like, basically it's what he's trying to like, he's like, you're not entitled to this salvation because you're an Israelite, right?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
don't, this isn't like this isn't, and which gives context so much to what he's saying when he's about to do the mic drop. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Well,
And because
it's great too because like yeah, the whole entitlement thing is spot on, and the fact that like what he's saying, where he's like, if you can't realize that this entitlement is what is causing you to be spiritually dead, then I cannot help you.
I
Like
can't save you. And that's what he said. Like,
I cannot give you salvation, or whatever. I
and
forget exactly what he says, but
and it's, and I think, I don't know if this is like the total intent of Dallas, and I'm really going to go curious to go read, or I'm wondering if he has more to say now that people have actually seen that episode. I wonder if he has like a different stance on it, of like how not to reveal everything from your show early. But like, I mean, they're basically, their entitlement comes from the fact that, like, I feel like the laws of Moses, right? Like the him following, out of slavery, and we looked at it. It's like, it was Moses that led them out of
Mhm.
Egypt, right? I probably, back behind God and whatever. But like, the fact here that their entitlement seems to stem from those laws,
Mhm.
the Levitican laws, and that they have, and
Right.
their salvation of what they understand it to be is through these laws, right? Like, I mean, that's what it is. And so I think, like, all right, let's just go into, I don't want to, let's just say the next thing that he says, because we haven't said it yet, but I'm sure everyone knows.
Yeah, so first,
But it's not
the rabbi is like, "Why'd you stop before you got to the whole vengeance part? Like, that's the best part, dude, where God brings
Mhm.
vengeance against our oppressors." And he's like,
Yep.
"That part doesn't even matter, dude. Like,
I'm not
you
here for that.
missed the mark. Like, we need to get this first part before we get to that second part. That vengeance, that's in the future." Um, but, basically Jesus is saying all these things, right? Not directly saying, I am the Messiah, I am the Son of David, I'm the Son of God, but he's saying, I am your salvation. I cannot give you salvation. Like, he's making these declarations of basically, without saying, I am the Messiah in this room. And of course, this offends and angers everyone in the room. The rabbi, he's like, this man's a false prophet, and by saying that, he invokes the law of Moses against false prophets, which basically is a death sentence. So everyone's all angry, and the rabbi is like saying all this to Jesus, and he's like, look, dude, like, I basically paraphrasing here, he's like, look, I know you, like, I know you're not a bad dude, but like, unless you take back what you said, like, I have to follow the law here. And Jesus walks up in his face and he's like, I am the law of Moses.
Mm-hmm.
And there's the mic drop moment, right? That's also the line that has ticked off a bunch of people.
I think that is that. I thought that was the line. That, I mean,
That
that's,
is the line. That is
yeah,
100%
yeah.
the line. And how it was explained to me is, Jesus came and fulfilled the law of Moses. Therefore,
Mhm.
he is not the law of Moses. But I think that is completely missed upon the viewer, the audience here. that's not the point of what he's saying. He's not saying he literally is the law of Moses. He's saying that's like, and this is how Dallas explained it. And even if Dallas didn't explain this and I didn't watch this video, this is what I would have interpreted the scene to be. This is like, say I'm going to try to use the analogy Dallas used, and if it isn't, then it's the one that makes the most sense to me. Say I'm like an off-duty cop, right? And I'm going through and I like jaywalk across the road or something. And a citizen's like, oh, hey, that's jaywalking's illegal. I'm going to call the cops. And he's like, I am a cop. Like, what are you talking about? Like, maybe that's a bad example. Maybe like your kids are arguing with you. Like, hey, you're eating dessert before dinner. You said I couldn't eat dessert before dinner. And like, what? Like, dude, I make the rules. Like, I'm the parent. Like, just stop. Maybe that's another bad analogy. But it's Jesus saying like, you can't like throw the rule book at me. Like, I am the ultimate authority. Like, I am what is important. Like, I am the way now, right? Like, it's one of those. It's a Jesus clapback. It's not him like declaring that he is the coming law of Moses.
Well, it's like John, and he, in the Greek word, he's his logos, but like I'm the word, right? Like I am and it's like I am this before it was. I don't know if that makes sense, but like, John starts out, in the beginning was the word, when the word was, that. Mm-hmm. And so I don't know, like, I think in that regard, when I hear it, I think about like, I was with Moses. You know what I mean? Like I am, like, I don't know. I wonder what you would translate. I also started thinking about this. Maybe this is just way too complex, but Yahweh is translated to I am.
Yeah.
So I am who I am, which is Yahweh Asher Yahweh or whatever. But it's like, which, I mean, if you're Jewish right now, you might be very upset that I'm even saying the word, but I don't really care because that's his name to me. But like either way. So, yeah, I don't know. I started thinking like, is that, I wonder if you would translate what you would translate I am as, but either way, no, that's stupid. But, I am the law of Moses. I don't know. It's also like, it seems as though the Jewish tradition is like, how do we fulfill these? Like, how do we, this is constant. I mean, we saw episode 1, they were talking about the blemished lamb, or the unblemished, a lamb, right? And you need to give the perfect sacrifice in this, and like, and it's all to kind of fulfill that law that is, I guess, fulfillment that I don't know, bring salvation, right? To I guess you would, is that how you would interpret it? Like salvation. Well, yeah, I mean, because the sacrifice, Passover, you're passing over, you're being saved, you're from, you know what I mean? So like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know why people, why do you know why people were pissed at this?
Yeah, because Jesus coming like fulfilled the law of Moses, and the law of Moses is no more because Jesus started the new covenant, like the New Testament, the new way, right? And by him saying that he is the law of Moses, right? People are like, well, what do you mean? Jesus never said that. That's not what Jesus is. But like, I think it's missing the point. Like, that wasn't the point. That's not what he was saying.
I would also argue that it almost seems like Jesus coming never said like, hey, stop being Jewish. Stop your Jewish traditions. Like, never once did you see that. And all he ever really said was, hey, like, you who are following these laws, like, you're missing everything.
Yeah.
You're not even like, you're way on the surface of these laws. You're not even understanding what the depth of them, what the depth of them is.
Right.
My
Right.
goodness.
Yeah. No. And that brings up like another topic of, you know, some people who, how do I say this? Not completely disregard, but essentially disregard the Old Testament because that was before Jesus. That was the old covenant. So it's like, I don't know how to say this. Other than like, there are some people who, in a way, kind of disregard the Old Testament because Jesus had come and began this new covenant with us, and that is the way, right? But I don't know how I feel about that. Like, well, you can't disregard something that is in the Bible, right? You can't believe, like I've said this a few times in past episodes. You can't believe like you can't pick and choose what you believe in the Bible. It's either all truth or it's not. Like, you can't say, Matthew is the truth, but like Job isn't, because it's all God's word, right?
Yeah,
or am I like
no.
base?
I completely agree with what you're saying. I would say each portion has its own literary standpoint, like intent, I would say, of like how it's written, of what the intent of the literary aspect of that actual thing. So I don't know. I guess it's really like what we look onto, that, like, what is truth, what is meaning, what is the intent, what is, like, how is it written? Is it I don't know. I think like there's a lot of complexity to from the New Testament to the Old, but like, you're right, it doesn't change the validity of it, and it doesn't change, I mean, most of the New Testament was referencing or hyperlinked to the Old Testament. So
Right.
I mean, I think you
like
can't,
it. Hyperlink. I like
it is, but
yeah.
it is. I mean, you go through the Bible and you see all these things and you're like, oh man, that's really good. And you're like, oh, like he's actually referencing this point. I mean, how many times Jesus talks in here and he's like, he brings up little things like, the one, I always love this one, but he's like, you will see angels ascending and descending on me. Well, he's referencing Jacob, and literally word for word. And so like, you see this all over, and so I don't know. I mean, but you're right now, what we're talking about is essentially, you start getting into the epistles, and you think about not John, my goodness, Paul, and you think about what he was dealing with is exactly this. He's seeing that these people that are coming in, the Christian, I don't know if you can even call it Christianity yet, but like, that's coming into play. And it's like, well, what do you do with these old traditions? There's the arguments of circumcision, and you get the arguments of like kosher, I think, like the way you eat. And so like, there's just this struggle with this like these old traditions. If Jesus fulfills them, and it's a new covenant, which Paul talks about, like, what does that mean for the old?
Right.
And I don't think at once Paul, being a scholar of the Old Testament, was saying like, hey, you disregard it completely over. And so guess what? You still shouldn't murder. That was pretty first to the 10 commandments. Like, those still apply. And so
yes.
I don't know, man. It's hard. And I think right now but you're right though. So many people just disregard it. And it's like, you could just read the New Testament and that's it. Yeah. Just read the 4 Gospels and we're good. And it's like, I don't know. Like, it's not.
Yeah. Why was the Old Testament included?
I think it's I think it's enough in the fact that Jesus is enough.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
like, if you're going to talk about it and like, and argue anything within it, then like you need to take some time for the other aspects of it, right? I don't know. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So I got off on a tangent, but like I just you're right though. Like this is what we're seeing though. This is like the start of it. This like tension between the Old Testament and the New Testament.
So true.
And it started with Jesus, right? I mean, that's the whole point. Man.
Good stuff.
Yeah, it is good stuff.
So during all this commotion, you know, Jesus says that, and then they like rip off his I don't even know what they're called, but like his like
I know
reading shaw. I don't know, that's probably totally wrong, but they take his ceremonial whatever off, grab him. You know, before Jesus has his mic drop moment, he whispers something into Lazarus's ear, delivers his mic drop moment, and then is rushed out to be executed, basically, because they're enacting the law of Moses here. Excuse me. During the commotion, of course, Mother Mary is distraught. Laz heads over and whispers into her ear. And Jesus is led out of the synagogue, paraded down the street, and led to a cliffside. So I want to know, like, was every Jewish town located on a cliff for, you know, handy and hurried executions during the execution of the law of Moses, or are there, like, did they hang, or was just pushing people off a cliff side like the mode of execution for these people? I don't know. It seemed a little rash that they would just lead him to a cliff
I mean,
and then toss him over.
In Luke 4:29, it says, jumping up, they mobbed him and forced him to the edge of a hill on which the town was built. They intended to push him over the cliff, but he passed right through the crowd and went on his way.
Yeah. So yeah, they're about to do this. Of course, the Rabbi Benjamin, you know, as angry as he has another one of those moments where he's like, Jesus, like, all you had to do is take it back, man. Like, I know you. You're a good guy. Your mother's good. Your father was good. Like, it sucks that you have brought this shame upon them and like
change your ways, man.
Yeah, man. Just all you had to do is take it back. But yeah, the two, Raffi and Aaron, go to escort him to his demise, and Jesus just walks up and he's like, does his best Obi-Wan Kenobi impression and says, "This will not happen today." Yeah, just he's like, yeah, this guys, you're gonna get what you want, but it's not going to be today, and just kind of walks out. Yeah, talk about de-escalating the situation. That's one way to do it. Not today. Just walks out.
It's called a talit.
Oh, the covering when they read.
I think that's how you would say it. I'm trying to phonetically look at it, but talit.
Nice.
Sorry, I get these and I'm like, I want to know what it is.
Oh yeah, no, I can tell when you go on your rabbit trail. Yeah. But yeah, so Jesus leaves the cliffside and he walks past a tomb. And at first I was like, is he like walking past his eventual tomb? Like, what's going on here? And then he starts having flashbacks to the scene, of course, that we spoke about earlier, where he has that conversation with his father Joseph about the the mule bit and bridle, whatever. And I put two and two together. He's visiting Joseph's tomb here. And we find out, you know, what he whispered to Lazarus, which was probably, hey, grab my mom and meet me at Joseph's tomb. I got this under control, because what happens next? Lazarus and Mary come around the corner and meet Jesus at the tomb. And they just have like a little touching scene here of like, Jesus like, this is probably the last time I'm going to be here. Obviously, everyone here wants to kill me now. By the way, thought I'd say goodbye to Pops one last time. But yeah,
I like this crawls in line with what we were talking about during the Christmas episode. Is that like I felt like I never got closure with Joseph. I don't think I worded it that clearly during the episode, but I think that's what it is I never got closure with Joseph. It's like, hey, here he was and there he wasn't, and that was it. And like you just they don't even acknowledge that. And so I like that this show clearly did acknowledge that to some respect here, and like, gave a little bit more into it. I don't know, like,
yeah.
They showed his tomb. That's enough closure for me, right? Like, I mean, that's about as close, as much closure as I can get, I guess. I don't know.
And they're just like that scene there again of Joseph and Jesus, like he's teaching.
Yeah, and that's where
I love that stuff. It's so
cool.
I
know it is, and that is we did talk about that early in the episode. But when he first arrives at the tomb, that's where he reminisces on the fact of where he got the bitten bridle.
Yes,
from
his and even at the end of the episode here, one of the last lines is Lazarus asking what the bridle's for, and he's like, "You'll know soon enough." So yeah, pretty sure that's what he's going to be riding into town on Palm Sunday. But yeah, one of the other things, because that's the end of the episode there. One of the other things during his conversation at the synagogue that I wanted to talk about is my wife and I were trying to decide or figure out why a prophet can't be accepted in their hometown, right? That whole part of the conversation. And like you alluded to, where Elijah, went to a foreign widow, healed the foreign leper instead of their own people, right? And it's that whole thing of, they're like, so basically you're saying you're the Messiah and you're not going to do any signs or wonders here. Like, you're not going to show us, you're not going to do any miracles for, the people you grew up with, like your friends, like, and he's just like, no, because you guys like
aren't going to accept,
just not going to get it. Like,
and I think it falls to answer your question. I think it falls a little bit into what I was talking about earlier. And when you get to with somebody it's been 15 years, you get with them and you revert back to your old self. You kind of, maybe not even like completely, maybe that quick mindset, or you start saying things that you would have started acting in a way. And I'm not saying that Jesus is doing that. What I'm saying is like, imagine, I'm trying to think of, you have siblings, right?
Unfortunately. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah.
You have a brother and sister?
Brother and a sister.
Okay.
And a half sister.
Gotcha. All right. So imagine you grow up and your brother now is doing this, right? Or like somebody you went to school with, right? It'll even make it a little less, less close, right? So you have this friend that you grew up with, and now you saw them picking their nose and I don't know, getting bullied in the parking lot, and then you saw him get arrested for smoking cigarettes or something in high school, and like, or whatever, I'm just trying to be dramatic here, right?
Right.
And now he is 33 years old, and he is talking about being the savior of the world, or a prophet, or hearing from God. And this person, you're like, how would you ever, like, I know you. I watched you grow up. Do you think I believe that you could be a prophet? And I think that's what, maybe I'm missing something, that there's some more particular reason, but like, I think that's along the lines of, does that make sense?
Yeah.
Does that
that's what we kind of were leaning towards.
It has to be, because
it's like exactly like you're saying, like, wait, James healed a leper?
Yeah,
Like,
right.
what?
Like
No.
there's
Like
no way. Yeah, and
James had one like 3 loaves of bread and like 5 fishes, or I forget the
yeah,
exact number,
no,
and fed 5,000 people with them, and they had like left. No, no,
and and
no,
think
not
about it. Jesus right now is saying he is like the Son of Man, right?
Mhm,
The Messiah. The like he didn't walk around as a child or a teenager or is in his 20s saying this. Like he may have known it, but
mhm,
he didn't reveal it. You know, he revealed it for the first time, which was said, I think, pretty much explicitly to the woman of the well, right?
mhm.
Like, you know, you have I
Foreigner,
don't
by
know,
the way.
like, huh?
Foreigner, by the way.
Yeah, foreigner, right? Yes, of a yes, exactly. And so I I don't know, man. I just don't like there was I don't think that they talked about that. And so yeah, no, I
Yeah.
don't I think that's what it means. You know, it's easier to accept somebody that is not that you didn't watch growing up
Yeah.
to be your even somebody in as simple as like being in power or somebody
Yeah, just
that's like
some sort of authoritative
authoritative,
position
yeah,
over
you
you.
know, and
Yeah.
you're like, dude, you were a doofus.
Yeah.
You did so many, you know, like I watched you do. You're
Yeah.
yeah. How are you now leading the
Right,
country, or
right.
you know what I mean? Like I just don't. So I think that that's got to be what it means right there, and it's
Yeah,
you
I
know.
think too, like, now that we're talking about it and we talked about, um, the spiritual debt that he referred to,
Mhm,
I think there was a line when he was talking about the widow, you know, Elijah asked her for basic paraphrasing her the last of her food and said that, you know, if she fed him, God would provide, right? And so God provided, multiplied the little she had to last forever.
mhm,
Um, she was so desperate and hungry, right? That she had faith for it to happen. And he just spent, you know, the early portion of this scene in the synagogue explaining their entitlement and spiritual uh, debt, right? Their spiritual death, whatever. They're lacking spiritually. Um, and so, you know, all of the miracles that Jesus had performed, you know, like you uh, so appreciate, you know, he always comments on the receiver's faith, right?
mhm.
And if they're spiritually dead or bankrupt, like
You have
they
no.
don't have that faith
Mhm.
to, you know, see these things come to fruition. So I think it's probably a combination of the two. But the first thing that we thought of was what we just talked about with like,
Mhm.
you mean this dork can like go and like heal these people? Like, but yeah, I just thought that would be an interesting thing to talk about just for a little bit, because it was something that we talked about after we watched the episode.
No, it is. It's a. I always wondered with this story too. I mean, because it is so it's so out of place with what he's been doing. You know, he's
Mhm.
going around town to town healing, and this is and it's not it didn't take the show to for me to recognize this. This is something I've recognized just reading through, just like and I never really I guess I haven't put that much thought into it as what I have now, I guess you would say. But like just yeah, it's just odd. Like you're going around town to town, and then he's like here, and he's like he's almost like it's almost like he was convinced he wasn't going to do it before he got there.
Yeah.
He knew he wasn't going to heal him, and I think
Yeah.
that's
Well, this is passingly referenced in Matthew too. Just
oh, it is.
oops, I meant to pause the episode and not mute my microphone. But yeah, it's like 2 or 3 sentences. It's like basically after the meeting, like we had in episode 2, um, where he sends the disciples out. It says like he returned to his hometown and didn't do anything, and that's again I'm paraphrasing, but that's it. Like Matthew, it doesn't go to any detail of what happened. It's just he went back to his hometown. He wasn't received well, and he didn't do anything, and he came back. Um, so not having been in Luke for a long time. It's cool to hear from you that this is straight out of Luke. Which, as soon as I finish Matthew, I think that's where I'm going next. I don't know if I said that last night or not, but I thought about saying that last night when you were talking about Luke. I think that's where I'm going next after I finish up Matthew.
Yeah, I haven't. I'm going. I know where I'm going. I'm going to X. And so this is you heard it here first. Now I'm gonna do. I'm hoping to. I'm thinking about the whole series now, but I think I'm gonna do a pretty big series on Acts. It's gonna involve some studies and a lot of podcasts, and so I'm pretty excited about it. I've been kind of thinking about it for a little bit now, and I think it's finally coming into, which is written by Luke, if you know. So it's like a continuation of Luke.
Oh, nice.
So yeah.
Perfect. But yeah, so that's the episode 3. I thought this so far this season probably my favorite episode.
Yeah, it
starts to get crazy.
You mean in the whole show?
No, in this season at least.
Okay.
I still want to say that Matthew 4:24 is still probably my favorite episode. And I didn't even talk about the film things that they did in this episode that I liked, but it's a lot to do with the use of like flashbacks at appropriate times and the music during the synagogue scene.
Yeah, that was
the rushing out of Jesus leading him to the cliff side. So good. Very, very well done.
Matthew 4:20. Okay, I know what episode you're talking about. One of my favorite early on was the dropping into the house, the paralytic man.
Yep.
I loved that story, and there's one more that they have to do, but Jesus in the storm.
The walking on water with Peter.
Yeah, and I know they'll do that one, but I love that story.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Also, one thing I want to point out before we head out here.
Yeah.
We had a running, I don't want to say theory, but we were in the process of developing a theory with how the third episode of these seasons would play out, because season 1, episode 3 was Jesus and the little children. I forget what season 2, episode 3 was, but it was another one of those like detached episodes.
And this was a detached one.
It was, but this was so like driving the plot forward, obviously. Not remembering what season 2, episode 3 was. But we did get the it's basically just Jesus. We have a little bit of Lazarus, a little bit of Mary, but none of the other disciples or party are in this episode. But
I forgot about that. I think it falls in line.
Let's see. Matthew 4:24 was episode 3 of season 2. Oddly enough. So yeah, I don't know. I still think it fits the bill, right? Because it's kind of a standalone episode. But I want to say that just what happens in this episode breaks the mold of the last 2 episode 3s. It's like, with the children, it's a little character development of Jesus. Matthew 4:24 is developing the disciples, and Jesus isn't even in that episode until like the last 2 minutes, right? But I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you think it lines up with the other episode 3s that we had in seasons 1 and 2? I don't know. What do you think? What are your thoughts, James?
Let's hear it.
No. What are your thoughts?
Oh, you said you guys.
I did, but then I switched it up without telling you I switched it up.
You confused me, man. No, I think it does. I think it's when we interview Dallas.
When Dallas comes on,
Um,
gonna ask him about the 2 hot topic
mhm.
issues in this episode, and then we'll ask him about
Well, I
yeah.
don't want to make him reiterate the same
Oh,
answers,
we
but
got it.
this is one that I haven't heard, and so I want to know. No, I think it is. I think that they have a molding to, you know, a season, right? And so I would say they're following they're following that mold, right? You know, there's got to be some order to things, and I think their order of things is kind of, they have this creative kind of, we'll see if episode 3 of season 4 is any bit of like this. Then I mean, you
Yeah.
can't,
Then
you
that's
know,
definitely a trend. You
yeah,
can't
you
deny
can't.
the trend.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
this isn't an outlier here. Like,
Yeah.
and I think so far, 3 for 3 is pretty.
Yeah.
This episode falls in line exactly with this type of thing. I mean, it's the same idea. It's off to it's something different. It's you.
It is like a side story
Yeah.
because that's what the
Well,
other 2 episodes were.
think about it like this. Think about it like this. So Jesus and the children. Take that episode out of everything. Does it change the overall plot? No. And I think this one right here, like, he does go to his hometown, and maybe this might even be a why can't I think of what they're called? My goodness. I'm drawing a blank here. What is he? This is what happens when we do podcasts at nighttime. Fulfillment. He fulfilled the prophecies. Oh my goodness. All right. So I don't know. Maybe this is like a prophecy. Like he goes to his hometown and he's not. Maybe that's what it is too. Like, I don't know. Maybe this is a prophecy that he's fulfilling. But I think if you took this out of like the story of the whole thing, it's like it wouldn't change the fact that he's the Messiah. He's already revealed that. You know what I mean? This isn't like something new. He hasn't done it to, right? He's done it at this up to this point, right? Like,
Yeah.
I think one of those things, like at the end of the episode, what we didn't discuss is he's like, I can't undo this now. Like it's you know, and it's like I get the point to be dramatic in that point with like what he's saying, but like, I mean, I think he's well surpassed that at this, you know, like
Yeah.
he's made Shmuel mad.
Yeah, he's got Law and Order
Uh-huh.
PVU on the case.
Yeah, so like I think he's well beyond that point. So like I don't know, like I think that if you took this out of the plot, he's still going to be crucified. He's
Yeah.
still like hated by a lot of people. And I don't know, you know what I'm saying? Like, so
Yeah.
I think it falls in line with each of those. I don't know, dude. It's just different. It's a different episode.
Yeah. I want to say in the series though, this is the first time where he's it's not the first time he's interrupted I'll just call it a church service. Cuz he did that in that small town where he healed the lame guy's hand, right? And then they were eating the grain on the Sabbath, and he's like, "I'm the Lord of the Sabbath." That episode. But this is the first time where he was like, "Man, could you imagine? Like, you have a guest speaker come in Sunday morning. You know, the kazoo worship's done. He opens up with some scripture, and then he's like, "Yeah, what we just read, that's me, baby."
Right.
Like
And then
that's
over.
happened here. I mean, that's crazy.
You know, I will say, like, I feel like I've had a lot of empathy for the teachers and different things, like from what you just said. Like, imagine that. I mean, imagine that today. And then we've talked about this before, like on how, like, if Jesus came back at this, we'll say that the second coming isn't as what it's predicted to be, right, or whatever. But like, if he came back today the way he came back then, we would kill him all over, like that. You know what I mean? Or at least with our words and our Facebook comments and stuff, like, I just, and so you like you just said, imagine him coming in and it's Sunday morning and he just gets up and he's like, I am
the
law of Moses, and closes it and says, like,
everyone would be looking for the nearest cliff.
Fulfilled. Yeah, right. Like, and maybe we wouldn't be doing that, but we would, there'd, you'd see the videos on YouTube surface. Is Jesus a false prophet? And is he a false teacher? And this, you know what I mean? That's what you would, you know what I mean? And so I don't know. And I don't know if I mean, how would you feel if somebody came out and said that right now?
Dude, I don't know. I don't want to think about it because I don't want to be
exactly. No, but that's what they're dealing with.
Yeah, it's that, man, I could not imagine.
And on top of it, it's somebody you knew, little old Timmy down the street.
Yep.
That grew up and you watched him and you taught him, and he was like
can't catch a dang ball with his left hand.
Yeah, can't catch the left with his left hand. He's kind of a B student in class, and you're just like, never actually formally graduated, dropout, and now he's saving the world. Like, that's just, I don't know. So I feel like maybe the show did it for me. Maybe, I don't know, but it's given me a lot of grace, I would say, for the
because I think
for the people that go for
like everyone listening, when you asked me like what would you do, and even I want to obviously be like, oh no, dude, that would be awesome. I'd be like, yeah, dude, it's Jesus. But like, in their position, not having heard from God for 400 years, like, and just some dude out of, like, pick whatever low, like,
Joseph's
hillbilly, like, down run town in your area, wherever you are, like, some guy coming from that town saying that he is the Messiah. Like, what the heck would you do? Like, especially if you didn't witness one of these crazy miracles that he did. Like, it's a weird position,
and it's almost like, and you're like, and what they did is they're like, prove it, and he's like, I can't right now, my powers aren't working, that kind of thing. And obviously it wasn't that, but like, it's almost like
that's what it seemed like to them.
They were, physician, heal yourself. And so
yeah.
And I mean, that kind of falls in line with the temptation, Jesus, eat this rock, turn it to bread and eat it. And he's like, well, no.
If you are who you say you are.
Like, exactly. And it does fall in line with the temptation of Christ. And so, I don't know, man. It's just so, I don't know. I really try to feel for these people that persecute him. And I think it's fair that we feel for him, right? Like,
he felt for them.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. He literally, one of his last words were, "Forgive them, for they know not what they do." Like, so like, I think what he's saying is like, hey, take a second and think about these people, because I loved them.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Even though they killed me, that was my despair. Like, I loved them.
Yeah, it's crazy stuff. And it's wild to think about. But overall, great episode. glad
Yeah,
we got this. It was a real good one. It was really
I mean,
fun
if this is
talking
how
about it, too.
this whole show is gonna go from now on, like, I'm jacked.
Yeah.
Like, this is and it was just, they're killing it, man. I really like it.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And this is the only place it leads, right? Because it's just gonna get crazier and crazier because we're gonna get closer and
Yeah, dude.
closer to the crucifixion, and that's gnarly, obviously. But yeah, excited to see what happens this week. We have episode 4 coming at the time of recording. Episode 4 will be out. What's Sunday? January 1st. It's New Year's Day.
Yes, correct.
January 1st.
And so you're gonna be releasing that right away, right?
This episode will be coming out on December 28th, tomorrow. I'm gonna pump it out. But yeah, so we'll have a new episode to talk about next week.
Yeah. This will be
And I'm looking
released
forward to that.
January 17th for me. And then the 24th will be episode 4. And then
Nice.
I think you guys I saw on the Discord, you guys all think it's going to be week after week. I don't think so.
I do think it's going to be.
I don't know. I don't think so. I'm surprised that, look, I think he's doing the episodes, around when people are going to be together. It's family time. It's this. But like, I don't think he's like, I mean, maybe the 8th will have it, but he's just been so unpredictable before. And I think that's
were the first 2 seasons like fully funded when they were filmed? Or were they still like fundraising during filming?
I don't know. I can't remember. I mean, I want to say they started funding or started recording season 2 before it was fully funded.
Because
I think once you get past a threshold, you kind of
you just go for it.
Yeah.
I want to say that season 3 is like filming was done before they released anything. So I want to.
Well,
I want to say that it's all filmed, so doing post on this would have been already underway.
I mean, post is,
but I wasn't around watching live in the first 2 seasons, so I have no comparisons to make. And I don't know. Maybe it might not be weekly. Maybe it will be. The only time will tell. But this much we do know: there is an episode next Sunday. So that means we'll be watching it, and then we'll be getting together and talking about it. And I'm excited. Anything you would like to plug, good sir, before we get off here?
No, I think I'm good. I mean, I am gonna put out my second post on Ruth. So at this point, it would have probably already been out by the time you listen to this. But if you're listening to Mike, you can go on over the nerdybible.com. And so I'm going to be posting my second post on it. And it's on, so the blog posts are the themes of Ruth. And first one was Hesed, which is like a loyal love. And the second one is redemption. So that's the second theme that I'm posting on. It's already written. Just kind of brush it up and post it. It's a doozy. So nice. I probably got to take a little bit away. It was like 6 pages of. So it was. I'm taking some away, and it's just all the writings that I did this past semester on Ruth. So pretty excited to let you guys hear it. So awesome. That's my plug. That's the next thing coming out. So if you are listening to this on mine, it was probably released 2 weeks ago.
Time travel. Lastly, you're probably happy we had no Shmuel in this episode.
Oh my goodness! I've never been
we've covered in a row. No Shmuel.
I've never been so relieved. I can't even say the word. I'm so relieved.
I've never been so revealed in my life. So if you're listening to this on Showboys, tune in tomorrow, Thursday, for our final episode of 2022. It'll be a fun one. We're going to do our year in review and recap. So we're going to have all the people involved at Showboys coming on and giving their top movie, show, and game of 2022, which should be fun. So we got some people lined up to come in, tell us what they thought. We're going to tell you what we thought. James, before we get off, do you have? I'm totally putting you on the spot. Do you have a favorite movie, show, and game that you played in 2020 or watched in 2022? It doesn't have to be a game that came out or a movie or a show that came out in 2022. That's our stipulation. You just had to have watched or played it in 2022. I don't want to take up a lot of time, but if you have it off the top of your head, show.
Yeah. So show definitely Rings of Power. I am just
Nice.
I know it was some people might think it was a little slow start and stuff, but like I'm excited to see where this goes. Like I love Tolkien and Lord of the Rings. I'm reading The Hobbit right now, and so
good book.
I'm just so that movie I actually really liked. I don't know. I can't think of any movies. I'm not a huge movie person. I don't watch a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sure this is actually beaten out by another movie, but I really liked Spirited. Or did you see that? I think it was called Spirited.
No, that was Ryan Reynolds and Will
yes,
Ferrell.
It was actually really good. We just actually, yes, I'm going to say this. Me and a couple other people from church have a book club.
No wonder you have the nerdy Bible.
Yeah, it's the pastor and the other pastor's husband, and I'm just saying this so you know who's in it, and then another person from the worship team, and so we just read Dickens and went over the Christmas Carol, and then all watched the Muppets Christmas Carol. It was pretty awesome.
One of the best movies of all time.
Yeah, fantastic.
I'm not even joking. There's no sarcasm on this face right now. The Muppets Christmas Carol, one of the greatest movies of all time.
Amazing. So we all watched that together. Amazing. And then I watched Spirited the other night with my wife.
Yeah. And that is
Christmas time.
Take on the Christmas
Carol, and so it was really good. I really liked it. And then game. My goodness, I have not really been able to play a lot of games this year. I think one of my favorite, I played Stardew Valley this year. I thought that was a fun game. Haven't really played a lot of video games. And I think part of it is because I really haven't been able to play. I don't know. Our friend Ryan just got a Steam.
What? He got a Steam Deck?
Yeah, he did.
Shout out Ryan.
Yes,
dude, I'm so jelly. I want to see Deck so
bad. And so all I could, I went and I'm looking on I'm like, I want a nice game. I'm on break right now from classes, and so I'm still working a lot, but like I have some little more time, and I'm looking and no good games on Nintendo Switch to play or anything, and so all I could think about is like Android, all the games. iPhone. So I know the emulators don't really translate well, but no. So I would say Stardew Valley got down on that this year. Just a simple game to kind of put on while I'm doing something or reading or not reading. Not reading. Listening to you. I don't know why.
Man, you are.
I'm a pretty nerdy person. I listen to a lot of like lectures and stuff on YouTube as well. And it took me all of 2020 to realize that I need to subscribe to YouTube Premium. I've been watching ads for entirely too long. So so here we are. YouTube, you can promote it or whatever. Sponsor. Thank you.
Yeah. You're tired. We need to get out.
I am tired. My eyes are burning.
Make sure you like, subscribe, rate, review.
You got me on the rant, dude.
Wherever you're listening to this at. Thank you so much for joining us. Let us know what you saw the episode in the comments. Join our Discords, Showboys Podcast, and the Nerdy Bible.
And go watch The Chosen.
That's probably the most important step, because if you're listening to this and you haven't seen The Chosen yet, you're probably really confused. Or we are really good at recapping these episodes.
Yeah.
If you are able to listen to these and not be confused. But either way, we appreciate your listens and views. We hope to see you next episode when when we recover episode 4. When we cover episode 4 of season 3. Have a great night.
Yes.
Shalom.
Shalom.